There are certain skill sets that are really worth learning if you're going to get into model railroading. Today I'm going to go over some of those, from the big, obvious ones to the more advanced skills. Hey everybody, my name is Jimmy. Welcome to Coffee and Trains. Today I'm drinking some Green Mountain Coffee Roasters right here. If you want to tell me what kind of coffee you guys are drinking, just like these guys right here, you can leave that in the comments below and you may get featured on an episode. Cheers, guys. Okay, let's start with the most basic skill you should learn as a model railroader: electrical wiring. Model railroading is at its most basic supplying power to a motor in order to make it run, and there's a lot that can go wrong in that process. Sure, your first starter set is just hook up a wire and go. As your layout grows, you may need to build things like power buses, which are usually custom jobs. Also, as you get more advanced, you're going to run into more issues that require more complex solutions. The best example of this is the reversing loop. The issue with the reversing loop on a two-rail model railroad setup is that when the locomotive goes around, there is a point where a short circuit is created. This issue is resolved by using devices that can flip the polarity of the rails when a short is detected. There are many more examples of this, like power districts, turntables, and many more. Now, right on the heels of electrical wiring, it's a good idea to learn how to solder as well. I'm nowhere close to the best solderer out there, but I'm proficient enough to where I can pick up a soldering iron and get done what I need to do. This is also a good time to mention that when you're buying a soldering iron, try to buy a quality one. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Next up is carpentry. Now, when you start, you may be on the floor or on a folding table, but that's likely going to change. Most model railroads involve some sort of custom table that was constructed specifically for it. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out there and be the next Bob Vila, but being able to do simple builds with common wood from the home improvement store is a good idea. Most of the time, you're only going to need something like a circular saw and a drill to achieve what you need done. For the next skill, I could just say you should get better at scenery, but that's like telling a runner who wants to run faster that they should just run faster. One scenic skill set that will serve you well is knowledge about paints and the associated tools. This is not just learning how to paint. This is learning what types of paint to use when and where. For example, when I'm doing my base coat on my layout, I use latex household paint as my base coat for my layouts. Then I use a lot of common acrylic paints for a lot of other applications. And if I need to use them in an airbrush, I need to thin them out a little bit with a little bit of an airbrush thinner before that they will go through the airbrush. Knowing this information plus a lot more removes a big barrier to decorating your model railroad and doing all of your scenery. The next skill is literally something that I learned specifically for model railroading, and I'm still pretty basic to slightly better than basic on it. That is coding. Now, coding for model railroading is something that you can use to do simple things with Arduinos like you see me, to control signals, turnouts, all the way up to building DIY DCC base stations and decoders like what you see with DCCEX. Coding can open up a whole world to you, and it has a lot of real-world applications if you're a younger person looking to figure out what you want to do in life. Try doing some coding for your model railroad. This will allow for some super fun customization of your layout. Now, I've done a ton of basic coding projects with Arduinos, and I will link a playlist with those at the end of this video. On that same vein, a lot of us can end up with a spaghetti mess of wires underneath our layout. This is partially due to the fact that wires just need to go to all sorts of different places, but it can also be caused by custom circuitry setups where we're just wiring everything. This is why being able to design your own circuit boards may be a skill to pursue, and it's easier than ever to do so. Here's one I designed. My personal method is to use a program to do a design for printed circuit boards that I can send to a company to have made. My personal favorite is Osh Park out of Oregon. There is also the process of etching, where you can make your own circuit boards at home. Either way you go, learning how to design your own circuit boards is a great way to neaten up wiring and give a cleaner look underneath your layout. Now, one big thing that has taken the whole model railroad by storm is 3D printing. The problem is that when you get a 3D printer, you have to either find, buy, or design your own models. Now, I designed most of my models, but it took me a while to learn how to do that. Learning how to use 3D design software to make your own models that you can 3D print is a great skill to have, especially if you're doing a lot of scratch building and custom work. There are totally free websites that you can use like Tinkercad and SketchUp if you're a beginner, and if you're more advanced, you can use something like the free program Blender. 3D modeling is definitely a skill that will serve you well in the future. What skills do you think are important for model railroading? I know I haven't covered them all. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, drink some coffee, and happy railroading.